talk about the dependence on foreign assets. There's two columns that we looked at, with net capital investment and then net foreign borrowing. So the net capital investment is really looking at a nation's ability to meet its change in labor force with its capital formation. And the net foreign borrowing is looking at how leveraged a nation is on foreign debt. And so together, these both have the effect on GPI to measure the sustainability of capital formation versus debt. And the methods we use to calculate this, for net capital investment, we looked at the change in net capital stock from year to year, and then we figured out what the capital requirement would be based on the change in labor force. So we subtract that, and that's where you see the blue line on the top. We had data going all the way back to 1965 for the capital formation from Statistics Iceland. For the labor force, we had to do a little bit of interpolation from 1960 to 1980, I believe, and but it was pretty linear through that area, so it seemed to be a pretty good fit. And then for the net foreign borrowing, basically to calculate this, we use the same methods that US used, that Sweden used in the other GPI studies, and it's to calculate the change in foreign assets versus foreign liabilities. And so this data was available on Statistics Iceland, or World Bank data, and in the National Economic Institute's historical archives from 65 to actually 2009. So we have data going all the way forward. And it's interesting when you start to look at this, you see, huge increase in net capital investment in the late 70s and kind of going through that time period. The dependence on the net foreign borrowing is fairly minimal up until that point. It isn't until around like the late 90s, early 2000s when the dependence on, or the foreign borrowing really starts to go negative. And you see the capital formation is still increasing, but the overall effect on GPI is negative. The foreign borrowing is around 350% of the GDP at the 2008 when the financial crisis kind of hit. So you can see that this is a pretty big negative to the overall GPI calculation. So that's the data. We have pretty good data going all the way back. The real recommendation that I think we had was we saw some different opinions on how the foreign assets should be valued, whether they should be valued by book value or market value. And so it may be worth doing another study and looking at valuing this from the market value side, and just keeping an eye on any of the more recent data to see if there's any changes as things are being sorted out at all the banks.
So, next steps. Where are we going to go from here? And I have to say, I think what the students have accomplished in sort of these 2 weeks basically is nothing short of remarkable. Basically what they've done, and even if, and as John mentioned before, that of course this is just a first cut. This is really sort of the first preliminary assessment of the Icelandic GPI, and lots of the categories, as you've heard, they have missing data, incomplete data, but what the students have accomplished is really to gather sort of the currently accessible data to calculate a GPI indicator for Iceland. And they really have seen, and we have seen, I hope you've noticed this, seen some really interesting trends. And what we do want to continue with this, and given sort of the success of this sort of initial first cut at assessing the GPI, and also sort of given the quality of the data that we have, of course we need to collect more, and the quality of the personnel that we clearly have here, we are going to continue with this work. And so essentially our plan is to, for the next 2 years, essentially collect as good of a data as we can for all of the categories within the GPI assessment framework. And in addition, we hope and we will be working with Statistics Iceland to actually set up a formal framework to really continue on an annual basis these types of accounts for Iceland. And what we are really hoping to accomplish with this is to have Iceland really the first country really in the world, that on a routine basis collects and formally publishes this data on an annual basis. It's done, hopefully, by Statistics Iceland. That's sort of what I was going to say for the next steps. But what I really want to express, though, here is sincere thanks to all the people in this room, of course to the students that did all this work, but all of the people that helped and answered their emails. I know some of the people from the agencies, the Environmental Agency, from Orkustofnun, and so forth. And just sincere thanks to all the help that you gave our students. In addition, I really invite all of you to participate with us in this future endeavor. So we hope to be able to discuss future trends and get some recommendations and feedback from all of you on sort of the work that we will continue after today. So, do you want to say a few words? That's it. So, thank you, and I'm going to actually clap for the students because this was great. Thank you.